Greetings fellow tank commanders. In this video I'm going to be showing you two games I played in the FV217 Badger. This is a tier 10 British tech tree tank destroyer armed with a 123mm cannon. This first game I'm playing is an encounter battle on Windstorm, with 6 tier 10s on the enemy team, 8 on my own, 2 artillery on the enemy team, and 1 on mine. For this game my tank is equipped with a gun rammer, improved ventilation, and binoculars, and I'm using a British crew which has 4 crew skills and perks. This was my first game with the Badger, so I just decided to take up a passive position over watching one of the streets in the city. I didn't want to get too close to this sniping type 5, since he's going to be an artillery magnet, but I don't really have much of a choice here because the enemy's barely peeking around that corner, so I need as much of an angle as possible. I'm just getting started with the Badger, but so far I've really been liking the reliability of the armor, which allows it to do sort of an awkward ridgeline fighting, besides just general sniping. The gun handles quite well, and just feels like an overall upgrade from the Tortoise, so it's not too hard to get used to once you figure out its strengths. There is a change in the gun from the Tortoise to the Badger. The Tortoise has a 120mm cannon, dealing an average of 400 damage per shot, with a base stat of 8.44 rounds per minute, while the Badger has a 123mm cannon with an average of 480 damage per shot, and a base stat of 6.19 rounds per minute. So the Badger gets a higher damage per shot, but has a longer reload time and less damage per minute. It's not too big of a difference, but players familiar with using the Tortoise will definitely notice, because you can no longer keep enemies permanently tracked, and you now have enough time to be a little more active on your reload or peeking around cover. I'm tempted to say I prefer the idea of the Tortoise's 120mm, but I've still got a lot to test out with this tank, and it really does get some nice upgrades with the armor and mobility. The battle is not going too well at this point. My team has taken significant losses, and my sniping type 5 teammate, as you'd imagine, is getting hit by artillery now. So I moved up towards some solid cover since the enemy had already broken our sniping perimeter anyways. We're just at 3.5 minutes for the game, and I felt I had been active enough with this tank for the first battle, but the score definitely shows differently. So really now all that's left is to make a final stand and try to salvage the game for myself as best as possible. I got a little greedy for that extra shot there, and really shouldn't have done that after getting hit by an autoloader artillery. Not the most glorious start with the tank, but still a decent performance. Now let's check the post-game stats and see how I did. For this game I earned 52,000 silver with a 25% multiplier, and 3,396 experience with a 3 times multiplier and 250 from an op. In this game I dealt 4,641 damage and destroyed one enemy while blocking 3,050 damage. This only allowed me to squeeze in a high caliber there. I placed at the top of my team, earning a base XP of 391. I managed to hit 14 of my 19 shots and penetrate 10 of those. And I didn't do anything in terms of crew and module damage this battle. The second game I'm playing is a standard battle on Malnovka, with 4 tier 10s on my team, 3 on the enemy team, and no artillery. I'm using the same equipment and crew for this game, however I have switched out my consumables to be small kits, since I found myself losing quite a bit of silver without firing any premium rounds, and at the moment I don't have the silver to spare. To start off the game, I'm just taking up a classic mid-map sniping position, which unfortunately doesn't end up being very effective since both of my light tank teammates went off to the right flank. I didn't even track the light tank on that shot. That is unfortunate. It's been an extremely unproductive start to the game, and as you can imagine I was quite frustrated. Since my team had some good map control here, I decided to take a bit of a risk and drive through the middle. Not something you want to do too often with a relatively slow turretless tank destroyer, but I needed to do something. I was anticipating that the IS-3 would get a shot in when I went for the Foch, but I felt it was worth it to try and get that shot. The track traverse speed ended up being a little slower there than I expected. I definitely need clutch braking for this crew. Good thing I've got that AT-15 overwatching. I didn't want to take another unnecessary hit from that IS-3 with so many hit points left to farm up in the game. A smart move by the 50 TP to hold his shot, and once again the AT-15 has my back. You will make a fine Badger someday. Fortunately, I managed to salvage that battle in the late game. Now let's check the post-game stats and see how I did. For this game I earned 47,000 silver with a 25% multiplier and 1,985 experience without any multipliers. In this game I dealt 4,095 damage, assisted with 1,988 damage, and destroyed one enemy. This earned me a Mastery Badge First Class and Confederate. I placed second on my team, earning a base XP of 1,323. I managed to hit 11 of my 16 shots and penetrate 9 of those. In terms of crew and module damage, I damaged the ammunition in the Hollenhund, damaged the ammunition in the 113, and damaged the fuel tank in the 50 TP. Well, that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed seeing those 2 games with the Badger. I'm having fun trying this tank out, but I'm hoping for some more epic battles soon. Stay tuned for more awesome World of Tanks videos.